to Multiplayer, your weekly dose of video game related news, and where you get to see the degradation of our friendship in real time. For better or for worse, I am your host, Guillermo Dorado, and on my left are my co-hosts. We have Zach Matscanis, the man with the mane.
What up?
And we have Javier Ortiz, my main man.
Hell yeah.
I do pick favorites.
Aw.
Didn't
Thank
think you knew
you.
that. Yeah.
That's why we're not friends.
Nah, it's done. And I just want to say first, guys, if you're watching this on YouTube and you ever feel your eyes starting to get a little strained on those blue lights, well, why don't you go ahead and plug in those headphones and check out our podcast that you can actually hear on iTunes and Google Play. And if you are actually listening to this podcast, well, guys, you're on the go. Why don't you just take a seat, kick your feet up, and watch the YouTube portion of this channel by going to youtube.com/multiplayer. And of course, guys, if you want to help out the show, make it bigger and better as it possibly can be, go to our Patreon at patreon.com/multiplayer. That's the fifth time I've done that.
W.
Patreon.com/multiplayer, where you can go ahead and donate a few dollars and get some extra content just from there. The more you donate, the higher the incentives get, and it helps everybody out, and we love you for it. But if you don't have the cash, or if you are just new to the show and you want to get a free taste, well, you can absolutely do that with all of our free content on our podcast and through YouTube. But, guys.
Yes?
It's time to start the show.
Let's get it going.
Let's do
It's
it.
time to get real sexy and talk about some video games, you know?
Yeah.
All of a sudden, we're sitting nice and crazy. If people on podcasts don't know what's going on, the lights are starting to dim. We're starting to bring out some Hennessy and touch each other. No, I'm just kidding.
Fire?
Because we're going to talk about Destiny 2.
Ooh, baby.
Ooh,
Tell me
cue
about
James
it.
Brown.
Oh, wow.
Destiny 2.
No. Yeah, no, we talked about the beta last week. It was last week, right? That was that episode. It was okay, great. So we talked about the beta was just about to come out. We actually got our hands on the open beta that happened this weekend, or last weekend. And I want to talk a little bit about, guys, we had some speculations. We had seen the trailers, we saw all the news, all the updates and stuff like that, but now we actually got to play the game, and now we get to tell these beautiful, beautiful people what we thought about it.
It was it was great. I won't go first because I've got...
Underwhelming.
I mean, well, here's the thing. I'm so not experienced with Destiny. I didn't play the first
Well,
one.
you're just not experienced in general. But...
No, I'm not. I'm clearly the youngest one here.
Ouch.
But no, I never played the first Destiny, so I went into this kind of, not knowing what to expect. I know that it's very RPG-ish,
Sure.
but it's first-person shooter. And my whole thing with FPS games, I've always been kind of meh about it. I've never been an FPS guy. There are a few FPS games that I really enjoy, and I really had high hopes for Destiny 2, because... I heard a lot of good things about the first one, and I know you really liked it too.
Yeah. We'll get to me in a little bit.
Yeah. But I thought in terms of just online play, it was pretty fun. But again, I just a lot of problem with this with a lot of FPS games. I thought it was very similar to FPS games. But again, my comments mean nothing because I never played the first one, so I really don't know much about it. So this is my first experience.
Well, but that's why I want to talk to you two specifically about this, because you are going in this completely blind. And yes, this is a beta, so you do have to go in with the mindset like this isn't the finished product, but it is pretty close, And I know you guys have some problems with the beta. We'll get into that in a little bit, but that's why I wanted to talk to you guys. So you don't really know much about Destiny, and you're not a big fan of FPS shooters. But what I want to know is what FPS shooters reminded you of Destiny 2, or vice versa. Like, which ones are you talking about?
Well, no, I mean just like FPS games in general. Because a lot of this, from what I saw, was a lot of machine gun play.
Yeah.
To me, there wasn't too much like variety in the guns and the weapons you have, and in terms of like special abilities and stuff, I was kind of underwhelmed. I picked the Warlock class, and I was really expecting more, variety with the Warlock, because it sounded like mage-ish, like, some sort of special powers. There was Hunter and I think Titan, yeah. So I went into Warlock because I was like, all right, this one sounds like it'll probably be the most fun, because Titan and Hunter seem very much like gun people.
Yeah.
Warlock seemed like a non-gun person. So I thought it'd be kind of different, but it just felt more the same, and I was expecting more like, what are my special powers? Because
you went into this expecting Overwatch.
Yeah. Well, no, not necessarily Overwatch.
You already said yes. You can't go back on
that. Well, not necessarily Overwatch, but just something variety. Like that's my biggest thing. That's why I have a big gripe with FPS in general. Is just I want variety, and I always feel like I don't get enough of it.
Well, I do think that this FPS in particular does have a little bit more variety than, say, a Call of Duty. I don't know why. I know like they have a whole heap load of loadouts and different like guns you can get, and you can have your different perks and abilities and stuff like that. But for some reason, it just kind of like all blurs together. It just all seems like this like monotonous like gray kind of spectrum but it seems just a little bit more emphasized and varied in Destiny, at least in my opinion. We have our mascot. Podcast listeners, we have a kitty here on set.
Multiplayer cat.
He's the cutest cat ever. Its name is Ness.
It's a girl.
Yeah, that's why I said it. I didn't want to like get the sex wrong. It's a creature.
You always get the sex wrong.
Ooh.
You been talking to my exes? You always get the sex wrong. You mean you don't use a toothbrush in this situation? What are you doing? Sorry, guys. I'm regressing. No. Yeah, I don't know what I was saying before the cat jumped into this scenario.
But like, just going back to what I was saying.
Variety.
Yeah, I just wanted, like, at one point when I was playing the beta, during like the story part of it, there's
arguably its weakest link, I think, still.
Yeah, I mean, it seemed interesting. Like, it seems like a cool world, and it's like what's going on. It seemed really badass because there's like explosions and giant ships, and the set pieces were really nice. But there was a moment where I forget the character's name, but she was the black woman, and she had like psychic power or something. I forget her name.
It starts with an I.
Icona?
Yeah, I think it's Icona.
That's Icona
like
Valley.
That.
That's Zelda, but
no, it should be Icona. If it's not, it should be.
Yeah, but I saw her at one point, and she
Akora.
Like, is that it?
Yeah.
Akora? Okay, so
yeah.
At one point she jumps on a ship, and she's like, "No, it's not happening today, you fuckers!" And she like blasts it down with these powers, and I'm like, right on. Why can't I do that?
I will say this: the voice acting for that specific scene is so underwhelming because she's literally jumping from like this cliff top onto a ship, but she's like, "Not today! I will stop this." I'm like, "You're in mid-flight. You know, like you should be like, yeah, you know, like
she's my
what is
animal.
This? Yeah, just even kill. Yeah, it's not like Cora, it's Javier. Like that's what. Jeez. All right, so we've heard enough of him. What have you said? What do you think about this?
Shut up, Javier. Okay. It's my turn. So, you know, I got to say I was a little underwhelmed. You know,
2 for 2 so far.
Yeah, you know, so I went into this. Obviously, I didn't play the first game, and I went in.
Well, I'll keep going. Sorry.
I went into this with some expectations, like, you know, because I know when the first game came out, you know, a lot of people were sort of underwhelmed. Like, oh man, this is Bungie's first huge game before. I mean, after Halo.
After the Halo
but
franchise.
You know, but a lot of people were overwhelmed. Yeah, sorry.
That's what the table was missing.
Podcast listeners, you're missing out. There's a beautiful, sexy cat just chilling now.
I told you they're missing out the Hennessy. They're missing the whole.
Yeah.
They're gonna get to this and be like, this is not what's happening. They lied to me. Yeah.
But anyway, so. You know, a lot of people were underwhelmed with the first one when it first came out, but once the DLC started hitting, a lot of people started like, "Oh yeah, this is great."
Absolutely.
So, and I feel like I sort of missed the bandwagon with the first one, so I never went back to jump into it. So I was like, I'll pick it up when the second game comes in. And with this beta, I went in with some high expectations and. You know, like I said, I was just kind of underwhelmed. Like I saw the, you know, you kind of have your opening intro kind of thing with the story, and I was just like, everybody here seems a little bland. You know, everybody's like, I don't know, there was just nothing there, and you know, and Bungie and I guess Activision as well has talked about how this will be like a good. A jumping off point for people that didn't play the first game. But I jumped in, I was like, I don't know who any of these characters are, and I don't
confused.
Okay, well, here's the thing. They say it's a good jumping point for new players because the story is organized in a way that you start from square one. So, like, you know, if you didn't play the first game, you know, people were afraid that, like, oh, is my character going to be able to transfer over from Destiny 1 to Destiny 2? And they're like, well, no, because we want to be inclusive. And I think they're having... the ability now for PC players to play with console players online now too. So they want everyone to start from scratch and have that like kind of like common zero ground.
Yeah, so and that's why, and I'm sure that's mostly what they were talking about. But I was hoping I could sort of come in on the story side of things as well and sort of know what was going on. But I was just like, I don't know who these characters are. I don't know why I would care. It was just, I don't know.
Well, honestly, if you played the first game, you still kind of feel that way because that was the biggest. The biggest problem with that first game was there was really no story. It was just a series of like loading screens that had narration to this mission, which was like loosely tied around a story, but mainly you're just going through these beautiful landscapes like on Venus or Mars or on the planet or on the moon, and you're just shooting down loads and loads of enemies.
Right.
And you're basically like just testing out the new guns,
Yeah. Crazy cat.
You got a fly in the house.
Kitty, what are you chasing?
So like that was the biggest thing. That and then Peter Dinklage's vocal performance. Or
I heard a lot of people complaining about that.
Yeah, and that was my biggest gripe about the first game too, because like yes, I had the expectation going in like Bungie, hadn't failed me yet. I was a huge Halo fan up until the third, or up to the third one. When Bungie was still behind the helm. So I was like really excited to see this new IP. It had like a really nice, unique kind of situation where it was an RPG kind of style. It's been done before, like with Borderlands and whatnot, but I was excited to see how Bungie was going to do it.
Right.
And it looked like they were putting it more in the D&D kind of setting. Like they were having like, their version of orcs and their versions of, those classic D&D characters and stuff
They
like
called
that.
like the Cabal, is that what they're called?
They're called the Cabal.
The Cabal,
they're
okay,
the main enemy in the second one. They are the people of Mars, I think, like the war race of Mars.
Okay.
Or at least that's where you meet them in the first game. But yeah, so there wasn't really much of a story, and that was very underwhelming for me because that's why I wanted to play the game in the first place. Like again, I will reiterate this 1,000 times over on the show, but like I'm much more of a single player.
Story driven.
And I think that's probably all three of us.
Yeah.
Right, and so in that kind of context, yes, the game didn't really deliver. However, I played through the story mode on the first Destiny. I finished it, and I felt no reason to continue playing because I wasn't playing live at the time. I had an Xbox, and so I put it down. I never owned it. But then it was actually, this is going to Mick actually, because we were talking about music before the show started, and his question was, has a video game ever used Led Zeppelin? And funny enough, the reason I wanted to play the new DLC for Destiny with the Rise of the Taken King, or the Taken King, was because they had that amazing live action trailer with the Immigrant song. Whew, it was so good, and it was like a really badass trailer. I was like, I have to get this game. And when I did, they had done a little bit of revamping for the story.
Right.
They introduced a whole new section of the game, and then I kind of like got sucked into like, I'm gonna try to now get like once the story's all finished, I want to get the best armor and the best weapons, exotic weapons like that. So it became, if I'm going to be using Nick's term, a grinding game. Where you're just grinding through millions and millions of like these things.
Right.
But that like when he said that phrase, it didn't dawn on me that game is a grinding game because I was invested enough in the story to somewhat, so I wasn't like really paying attention just because that's every game. Like Halo, I guess you could say is a grinding game too, in a sense. I mean, you're not grinding for like equipment and stuff like that, like you are in Destiny, but I get it. But having played the second Destiny, yes, they added cinematics, but there's still that like it's still pretty flat. I feel like it falls flat, and I think my playthrough of the first story mission that they have like opening the beta would have been better or improved if I could choose the difficulty setting.
Right.
Because I just looked, I was just like this god mode, which I think is the point because you are supposed to be like this all powerful whatever, but you just mow down everybody, and I'm like, well, I didn't die once, and it wasn't challenging, and this is not very fun. However, you go into the competitive side of it, the online play. I had a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun. I started to really enjoy myself when we started doing these quick matches.
I mean, you were killing it earlier
Thank you.
when we were playing
that.
online. But that's the thing. Like,
remember that Get Good Guillermo? He got good.
I just
For a moment.
I hope that
More like got lucky.
I hope they don't like a lot of problems in today's world when it comes to gaming. I hope they don't just dedicate all their love to the online experience.
I agree with it completely.
You know, I'd like some love towards. Oh, Kitty.
I know. I really love it.
I'd like love, made towards the, the single player. Well, I mean, not even necessarily single player, but whatever the story-driven campaign is.
It's so funny to hear you say that though, because you love Overwatch.
Well, but there's a big difference between when it comes to FPS games. I always say that Overwatch is the most unique because no one character is the same, and the play style of every character is different. You don't like every single character is different. Their weapons are different. You can't like change loadouts and stuff. They are who they are. Some people can freeze people. Some people can only heal. So
it's that hero style of
exactly.
Like,
it
kind of reminds me of Team Fortress too.
Yeah.
Like
yeah. And but that's why I like you know, when it comes to those type of games, I love individuality with characters. I love having characters, they're special, they're unique. Like, you know, when you look at a game, you know, you take Overwatch, and you have your Mercy, who's the healer, of course. You know, there's no character like that. You need that.
They have multiple. They have multiple healers, but they're all have their
Exactly,
own niche,
and
you know,
they're all
pros
different,
cons,
and that's and the thing about that game. And when we were playing online for Destiny, what I noticed that the big difference between Overwatch is that it is straight up you need a team, and by that I mean you need role players. You need people to do different things.
Yeah.
And what I saw there was, you know, a bunch of people running around with machine guns, throwing knives.
To be fair, it does, you know, have a lot of similarities in terms of online play with Call of Duty and those kind of games. I think that the genre that it's picked and the way that it's doing it is unique enough for me to enjoy.
And that's totally fine.
Yeah, right. But like,
I
agree with you though.
Yeah,
like, it is just a bunch of people running around shooting each other.
Yeah,
like, that's there's
and I totally preface everything I say with, I have never played the first Destiny. This was my first experience with Destiny.
You can have vehement opinions on the show. Like, that's totally fine.
No, I know. I
like to be lukewarm with what I say.
No. It's not that. It's that you know, this is coming from a person who has a couple hours experience.
No, I feel.
And I'm sure people who have.
It's actually nice being modest like that. That's
because you know, I don't want to shit on a game when I've only played it for a couple hours. Yeah. I'm sure there's a ton more to experience that I clearly did not. This is only a beta.
It's true.
So I mean, there's a ton more.
But you did point out a huge flaw with the beta.
I did?
Yeah, well...
What'd I say?
You remember. I'm not telling you now.
Make me sound smart. What'd I say?
You pointed out that, I mean, it's a beta. I mean, and you kind of agreed to this as soon as he said it. You're like, yeah, absolutely. But the whole point is you have these three classes you can choose from. You can choose your Titan, your Warlock, and your Hunter. And in the game, it's just like, you know, in World of Warcraft, you pick your race, or like in Elder Scrolls. It's not like Overwatch.
Like an RPG.
Right. That is your character, and you're going to bring him to maximum level as you possibly can, right? What you point out, though, is that this is a beta, so you should have the availability and the freedom to switch out between those three, and especially people who haven't played. I mean, you
I want the full experience. Like, make me want to buy this game by letting me try everything.
And it's I agree with you. If it's a beta,
at least try it easily, because it's like if you switch classes, at least what I was told is you have to kind of play through that whole kind of single player opening again.
This essentially the tutorial of the game.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah. So it's
and I don't want to do all that.
Yeah, and it's like I want to try it.
It's too much.
Because I was playing with somebody that was like, oh yeah, the Warlock, right?
Yeah.
So they were like, oh yeah, Warlock is the best class. You drop those shields, and it's like
no, it's not.
And well, you know, somebody was that I was playing with was saying that, and I was like, oh cool, I'd like to try that. Can I just switch it out in the menu? And they're like, oh no, you have to kind of play through that tutorial again. I was like, I'm not gonna go and do all that again. So I just did.
I mean, and what they want you to do is you can have multiple save files on one game, like so you can like switch between your characters. But I never did that with the first Destiny. I got my Hunter class because he's got like the sniper gunslinger type, which is like one of my favorites. But I picked that class and I was like, I want to try out the Titan or the Warlock because I see the Titans bring out that hammer of doom, and you're like, yeah. But in order to do that, you have to start the complete game over, start from scratch, and play the whole story mode. Like grind again. Yeah. And I was like, okay, I guess I'm never gonna play as a Titan. Like I don't want to deal with that.
It's too much commitment. Like you just don't want to go through all that.
But and just kind of talking on the kind of competitive side of things with that, but I think one of my biggest reasons I was underwhelmed was because of my experience with Overwatch. It's like I've found myself now just comparing everything, like at least online multiplayer stuff. I'm just comparing it to Overwatch now.
Yeah.
And this is one of those games where I'm like, that's fine, I guess, but it's not Overwatch. It's Overwatch is.
Well, I mean, your standard has been set so high.
Yeah, I mean, I think.
Oh man, this cat is really loving today.
Yeah, my cat's she's going a little crazy. But anyway, so I just gosh, damn cat.
No, I understand. Your bar is set very high. The competitive didn't really meet that bar for you.
Yeah, I think because like everybody in that game, like all your characters, they're all wearing masks and none of them speak. And
well, also that was the beta. I mean, like you have a lot of options to customize and stuff with your character. Like you can find these really awesome different like armor sets.
Right. Oh,
like
totally.
So.
But it's like something like Overwatch is just, I mean, it's just
so dynamic.
oozing with character. Just oozing. And it's like you get into Destiny.
You say that. I want to take a shower.
Just
it secretes character.
But you get into Destiny, at least what I've played so far, and it's like I don't know this Guardian that I'm playing as. I don't know who he is. I don't know why I would care. He doesn't speak. He doesn't have a face. It's like I just don't care. But it's like with Overwatch, you can just dive into those backstories for days and look at like who those characters are, why they're there. Doesn't matter that there's not even a single player mode in that game. It's just those characters are. I mean, there's just oozy, pussy.
God, jeez.
Just
moist,
rancid, disgusting.
I mean, it's just rancid,
pulsating boils about to burst. Anyways,
with character.
Character. Bottom line. All right, so then, are you gonna buy this game? Like, that's bottom line. We've talked about it. We talked a little bit about gameplay. I hope people watching or listening know what the hell Destiny is at some point. It's Bungie's it's a new IP for Bungie. They created Halo. Probably late to start introing the game, but it's a AAA title. You should know about it by now. Absolutely. If you don't, I'm sorry. But okay, we talked about it. You had your opinions out. You told the problems, what the pros and cons were.
Yeah.
Starting with Hav, are you gonna buy this game?
Yes, I am. Even after everything I said, like, I want to play it just because, again,
because you want to play with me on it.
Well, no, but
okay. We're not playing with it.
We're not friends, God.
No. Okay.
No, but my experience with FPS, since I've never been a big fan of it, I've heard such, it has such a big following. I want to experience it, and I want to experience more of it because, like we were talking about, it's so limited in the beta. Like, you can only pick one class, and that's all you get to do. So I'd like to experience more with it, and I want to see what all these characters are capable of doing, what all the classes are like, and I want to see what type of variety it offers, because I know it has some.
It does get very addictive. Like, I took a break from it, but like once I took that like couple month break from Destiny 1, I jumped back in. I was like, sucked in.
And when
when
I played the beta, there were some aspects I really liked. Like, there was one gun that shot like lightning, but it would like automatically recharge, and like it would like shoot lightning at other bad guys that were next to them. So I thought that was really badass. And I was like, I like this gun a lot. Give me more like this. I want more variety.
You're so tame with your opinion. I like this gun.
I did like it.
It electrocuted 1,000 people.
Let me tell you, it was
like
fucking awesome.
Yeah.
I loved it. Something sound like Zach. It was so
that
awesome.
was a really good impression. Okay, moving on to Zach. Zach, are you gonna buy this game?
Not anytime soon,
Really?
anyways. Once the game comes out, maybe if like some DLC comes out that really flesh out the story a lot more, and there's some cool stuff there, maybe. We'll see though. As of right now, I'm just not sold on it.
All right.
I would rather just continue to play Overwatch.
Yeah, I still need to get that game. I think
you do.
Okay.
Sorry.
Hey,
I really do though.
Why
I
don't you
appreciate the
go and get Overwatch?
Yeah, well, I am. I just need to have a moment to like learn how to play that game because I played with you guys and I was like overwhelmed. It's just so much. I do think that I'm gonna buy Destiny. It's not gonna be like as soon as it comes out, my first purchase, but like I am gonna get to it, and especially like Javier, if you get it, like I will be looking forward to.
Yeah.
I mean, if you want to. I mean, you just said you didn't want to, but
no, we can.
I'm open to the idea.
It depends on if I'm in a good mood that day, but yeah, we totally can.
No, we can. It's okay, buddy. Don't cry.
No, I am hoping that, like most games, when there's DLC that comes out down the line, that they make a disc that has some DLC already included.
They did that with Destiny twice, which was kind of annoying.
Yeah.
And that's when I actually bought the game for the first time, was when they did the Taken King and they had the other one, something with the wolves.
Yeah. So if they do that, I would
Wolves,
probably get it at that time when it has some more stuff in it that's just to mess around with.
Cool. All right. Well, we're gonna move on to another beta that we got to play recently as well. We did talk about Splatoon 2 last week, but now the game has been released. I believe it was released on the 21st.
Yeah.
And there is some backlash. The game itself, a lot of fun. Everyone is having a great time with it. It's getting really good reviews all around. The biggest problem with it is its online voice chat system.
It's Nintendo, man.
So
Nintendo.
yeah, I mean, so
they can't do it.
They released an app called Splatnet, specifically alongside Splatoon 2. And
well, the app's just it's their Switch app, but there's Splatnet within that app.
Sure. Okay, got you.
This is appception. Like, what?
I don't like any of this. Already confusing.
It's just like,
it is. It's,
the whole idea is like within the kind of the Switch, voice app.
Yeah.
You can go to these different hubs or channels or whatever you want to call
Right.
it for like different games once they come out. So like Splatnet is.
Yeah.
Splatoons.
Sure. So like for anybody who doesn't have a Switch or doesn't know how like this whole online play for Nintendo is really working out, on PlayStation, on PlayStation Plus, and then you have Xbox Live, it's pretty much really simple to find friends, invite them within Xbox Live or within the console's built-in live app, if you will. To create parties and create party chats, or chat rooms for your friends to just come in and privately chat together. And to play games very seamlessly and easily, even to the point where you can just like have a chat with somebody while they're playing a different game and you're playing another one.
Can't stress how easy it is on those.
It's so simple.
You
could
just
accidentally make friends.
You could just trip over your controller and suddenly you're in a voice chat. With all your friends, and it's a good time.
The best part is you could just plug in some headphones and you're good to go.
Yeah. So now with Nintendo, because they are a very family-centered, video game company, they're trying to make it safe for kids, for all ages that play. Because a lot of their fan base for Nintendo is younger kids. We know that from all the heinous and terrible commercials for the Wii U. But so now they have this app, which is kind of like it's essentially this firewall, if you will. And there's so many different obstacles in order to get a friend online. So like each console itself has, or each profile, when you make a profile on the console, the Switch, you get this about 8-digit friend code that you have to give.
12.
Yeah, it might be 12.
Yeah, it's a ridiculous amount of numbers. Yeah, and then you have to then share that friend code via your social media, like something completely unrelated to Nintendo, like Facebook or whatever, or like text your buddy your friend code. You can't send it directly on your console. You won't find that other console unless you have their friend code, which is really annoying right then and there from the get-go. Then they have this app where it's trying to bridge that gap. So now you have your friends list. After you've hunted down the 1,000-digit codes, and you can now create your parties and do that. Except you can't. You can't make parties. You cannot create parties. You cannot create chat rooms unless you are specifically in that game's lobby. Like this certain battle mode on Splatoon, you have to be in that lobby, and then even then, someone else has to join in before you can start talking to them. You can't just send an invite to somebody. It's just ridiculous. So it's kind of counterintuitive.
It's a mess.
Yeah, Nintendo's always been one step forward, and it feels like 12 steps back sometimes. At least when it comes to their online infrastructure.
Yes. Because they're trying it out, and you pointed this out though. It's just so easy to look at the foundation of these other huge Microsoft and Sony. You can do that, but they're just trying so hard to continue to be this family friendly and safe thing. Yeah. So now it's getting a huge backlash for the Splatnet thing, and we haven't even touched upon how difficult it is, the amount of wires and cables to just put your headset on.
It's like a human centipede of
so many wires. You're tangled
it's
webs.
It's just ass to mouth all over the place, and they're supposed to be a family-friendly company, but they're showing me these things.
I don't know what they're selling.
Yeah.
I think
just
that's
thought something gross.
I think that's how they should try and advertise it. It's this is our ass to mouth connectivity.
Yeah, that would be the kings of left field for you. What? Did they just say A to M in their campaign? So but going back, now that the game is out, are you guys gonna, even it has these flaws with the online situation, you still can jump into quick matches and play, if you're not looking to just sit down with friends and stuff like that. Are you
that's the thing, you take the competitiveness out of it because you can't really form a team with your friends because
it's not easy.
Yeah, not easily you can, and it's just, and then you got to worry about the actual headset setup if you actually want to talk to people, which is even worse, which is another thing you have to buy.
So then a hard no.
I mean, I want to say yes because it's kind of fun. It's different, but it's just if you want to play it just to play it, yeah, you can totally get it. But if you really like the competitive scene of it, then it's just such a hassle if you want to be competitive in it.
It's so weird because they want you. I mean, this console is specifically designed to take it on the go into your friend's house and like play it with your friends. But then it's like weirdly counterproductive to that message.
And they really want to get into the competitive scene, like with ARMS and stuff.
Yeah,
like, they're trying hard.
I mean,
and Splatoon.
They've been trying really hard with like that message. They've been really beating that drum. Like with E3 when we went, it's like they were having Splatoon 2 and
every episode. By the way,
you know, with like
oh great.
Yeah, in case you didn't know,
I forgot.
But you know, with like Splatoon 2 and ARMS and Pokken Tournament, they've really been beating that drum of like the competitive scene. And it's like, you know, if they really want to try and push that a lot with something like Splatoon 2, you gotta make it easy for me to get online with my team and play, and it's just way too difficult. It's so easy for me to get into something like Overwatch and play with the people I want to play with.
Sure.
Yeah.
And guess what? Like most of those people that I play with on Overwatch, I met through other games online on my PS4.
Because you don't actually have like friends in real life.
No, I don't have any friends. I play video games. But it's just like I have like such a great community of people I play with online now on my PS4 because I either met them on there or on my PS3 and have just friended them and have talked to them over time, and it's like such a great community.
There's like a lot of camaraderie like built in that. So when you go to a new game, it's very easy to just like put it in play.
It's like,
you don't have that,
It's like I'll talk to them like, oh, what game are you going to be buying soon? Oh, wow, you're going to be buying that? Well, maybe we can play together.
You just touched upon a really good point. I mean, that's word to mouth right there. Like people selling games. That's a good point. I mean, like I don't think that Nintendo's really putting that into mind. They're putting so much emphasis on like rehashing all their old systems because they might be now rumored to do a mini 64 classic. Yeah. It's like, okay, great, I'm excited. I still have my 64 though. Like, why? What are you gonna do? Like the mini GameCube classic? Like we're just gonna release all like, okay. I mean, you know, though, like, what is the point? Yeah, we're all happy because we're steeped in nostalgia of Nintendo, but stop shitting in our mouths. You know, like, telling us it's new. You know,
and we've talked, you've mentioned this before, I think it might have been last week, and you said it earlier, where, like, they're trying to focus on, you know, their younger audience because Nintendo's always been very family-friendly. At the same time, I would
gotta give.
No. I would say, like, 70% confident in that most of Nintendo's audience is like us. Like people our age.
Grew up
because we grew up with it.
Yeah.
So like stop babying us and stop trying to make it so damn hard for me to play online with my buddies. Like I just want to play online with people and meet people.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's they you know, that it's that minority that ruins it for the majority. Where it's just like, I just want to get online.
That's a hard stance you're taking. Is that rude anything else? No, I'm just kidding.
Privilege.
I'm kidding.
We'll just let that pass. But you know, it's just one of those things that's like, it's not Nintendo's job.
No, for sure. Completely agree.
It's just like, it's the parents' job. If there's so many kids that are like
if you buy your kid at age 11 a freaking smartphone, you've already failed a little bit. Like now they're all the blackness of the internet is at their fingertips now. You know, like no matter what you do, they're still gonna get. And then their friends. I mean, like, you know, I was shown Two Girls One Cup in like middle school. I didn't look it for it, but my friend was like, "Have you seen this video?" And I was like, "What is it?" You know, like it was like terrible. So it's just gonna happen. It's not, you know, like it's just there's no avoiding it at this day and age.
Nintendo just needs to just get over it because, I mean, it's just one of those things. I don't even know what it's like to be like a 10-year-old kid nowadays. It's just like
that's a really sad thing to say.
You can get online, like you could just you have your iPhone, and it's like, you know what, I just want to look up some nasty porn, and you just pull it up 10 seconds.
Yeah, www.com nasty porn.
Nasty
quadruple
stuff.
NP.
You're just sitting in third grade, fourth grade, you're sitting in class, you're just looking at some.
Well, I mean, that's always been a thing. Like we're straying far off of video games.
Without diving too far into like the sociological aspects of technology and youth today, but you know, it's not their job.
It's relevant.
Stop trying to babysit these kids. We're your main audience. Give us what we want, and what we want is to be able to plug in goddamn headphones into my Switch and just play with people that I know.
Yeah.
Or just through a Bluetooth connection.
Yeah.
So, geez, how is there not a Bluetooth connection through my
Your
Switch?
console has Bluetooth in it with your Joy-Cons.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
just
Nintendo.
It's
Come on
pretty
now.
insane.
All right?
Like I
That's
should,
good.
Yeah, and the
Yeah.
well, and the worst part, you know, like one more thing, just to harp on this bandwagon.
Yeah, 'cause we haven't beaten
like
it to death yet.
Like the last thing, and we talked about it last week, was that, you know, when the three of us tried to play Splatoon online,
It was a nightmare.
the beta, we couldn't because we needed one more person.
yeah,
Like we
that's-
weren't able to, we weren't even
crazy.
able to play, you know, together and just add a random, like you know, like
Yeah.
stuff like that. It's
Yeah.
like, well, now I need to have at least 3 people with a Switch that I know, who I know personally because I have to give them my friend code.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, well,
Yeah.
what's the point? Like I'm not meeting
I have to
anybody.
give my friend
It's-
code.
It's so funny how
friend code.
it's so funny how Nintendo, they make some things really, really smart and simplistic and clean, and it's
Mm-hmm.
just like, hey, here's that thing, click on it, you're there, done. And then they make things so overly complicated
Yeah.
with, and that's the stuff that they're really silent about, where they really don't talk about it.
No, not
Where
at
it's
all.
just like, I didn't know that you had to have 4 people to jump into a Splatoon match to
Yeah.
play together. It's like
You need a full team if you want to play the game with
yeah,
your
you
friends.
have to just find that stuff out the hard way.
Mm-hmm.
Or like they were like so silent about their headset situation.
Yeah.
Like they didn't talk about
They
that.
didn't
at
mention it
all.
once.
Because they knew it was
dude.
gonna be so
Yeah,
I
it's
mean,
a
so that's
disaster.
essentially the backlash that is happening with Splatoon 2 right now. Again, the game is doing very well, and we had a fun time playing the beta, even though we had those problems.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
think I am gonna pick up the game personally. I do want to because it is a very unique game, and I'm like you in Splatoon. I am to Splatoon as you guys are to Destiny. I didn't play the first one, so. Yeah, you like that analogy?
That makes sense.
Approved. Yeah, so like getting my hands wet for the first time with all the paint and stuff on 2, it was a lot of fun. So I think I am gonna. It did sell me on that front, but now they just got. Hopefully they'll make a patch or something to fix that problem, or just get
see.
smart, and they'll do it. But
I will at some point. I'm definitely gonna pick it up just because I want to play through the single player, and I want to go through their salmon run.
Yeah,
Salmon
and that looks like a lot of fun.
It does,
Yeah,
it does.
and hopefully that's something like we can. All
that's like
pick
their
it up
story
and
mode
play
essentially,
through.
right?
No, they have a story mode, and then they have.
Oh, it's like
salmon
their like wave of enemy mode, or like
Yeah.
Yeah,
Outlast.
it's sort of like a horde
their
mode
horde.
kind of.
Horde mode. Thank you.
But I mean, I love the first Splatoon, and
I'm gonna pick it up for
playing the
sure.
second one, it feels like the first in a lot of ways, obviously,
Mm-hmm.
and I definitely just want to play more of that. But it's something where it's instead of buying it on day one, I'm just gonna pick it up at some point.
What about
Because
you?
it
Huff? You gonna get it?
At some point, but not anytime soon.
Oh,
Like I want to, and I know last week I said, yeah, I'll buy it. I just not yet. I like with all the problems, and you know, that's a game again where if you don't care about competitive, and you just want to play it. Yeah, I'll get it eventually.
Nice. All right. Well, I mean, we've talked about some really AAA titles here. I want to very briefly touch upon this rumor that, a game that is finally starting to like see the light of day. I want to briefly touch upon that and then go into another thing. But at D23, which is like pretty much the expo for like Disney, all things Disney.
Yeah.
Kingdom Hearts 3 made an appearance. They had a new gameplay trailer, which, I mean, it revealed that one of the worlds that they're going to be playing in is Toy Story, which looks great. It was all in Japanese. I wonder if they're actually going to get like the voice actors of like Tim Allen and Tom Hanks and stuff actually voice Woody and Buzz. But but that released, and so I think is there a release date attached to it now? Like there's a
2018.
Yeah, they just said 2018.
That's it.
and
But
this
who knows
but
if
this
that's
has been
true?
a thing
Like,
since like 2008, right? It's been 10 years in the making. This is
think
almost
so.
becoming
No,
a
a little
Last
longer,
Guardian
I think.
situation.
I think it's been longer.
because
than
I think
that.
the first one came out in 2006.
No, you're right. You're right. It was like 2005.
Yeah, I think it's like 12-ish years.
It's been a long time.
How long was The Last Guardian when Blue Dot? Was it Blue Dot? Is that what's the name of that place? Blue Point. That game company.
I couldn't tell you.
All right.
I don't know how long. It's been a long time though.
Video games.
for the
Last Guardian for
That
Shadow
was,
Colossus.
that's Sony Japan.
Sony Japan. How long was that a thing for?
That was 10-ish years.
10 years. So now like Kingdom Hearts is like that now apparently.
yeah.
So
It's
but we're
just a
starting
lot
to
of
see some
Japanese
gameplay.
games.
Yeah.
For some reason,
Yeah.
it's like
It's
it
looking
was
pretty
The Last
dope, though.
Guardian. It was Final Fantasy 15. It was Kingdom Hearts 3. Where it's just like they need to put these games out. Like Naughty
Yeah.
Dog has made like 4 just
Amazing
masterpiece
powerhouse games.
in the time that you guys haven't made one game.
Well, that's the thing. Like Kingdom Hearts, as much, I personally, it's a fun game, Like, I think the first two are pretty fun. I still love the first one the most. I think it's super
God,
different.
that
And
Ansem fight at the end. I think.
Yeah.
Speaking of bosses that made me almost like cry of anger and like break my controller. Yeah.
oh, it was
Ansem.
Sephiroth for me. Fighting Sephiroth in Kingdom Hearts. Oh my god.
You know what the worst part about that fucking game is? Sorry, everybody, I'm gonna go on a tangent. The worst part about Kingdom Hearts 1 is when you die at a boss, you have to watch the cutscene leading up to that boss, and you cannot skip it.
Yeah.
I can recite for you guys the entirety of all the cinematics that fall or lead up to the Cerberus fight in the Hercules world.
Oh my god, yeah, that was tough.
I hate that level so
Yeah.
much.
But
God.
digressing.
Okay, calm down. Woosah, woosah.
It's definitely always the worst when you can't skip
Yeah.
a cutscene
I
after you've
always
seen it
hated
like
that.
1,000 times. It's like, come on, developers, please let me
Yeah.
just
But you know what?
skip
But then
this,
we bitch
please.
about like, give us consequences when we die, and then that's the consequence. Like, stop doing this to us, you know?
it's like torture of the mind.
Oh my
instead of-
god! Yeah, it's literally like psychological torture at that point, you know, like when they blasted like Guns N' Roses, like, you know? Oh Jesus! But yeah, so Kingdom Hearts 3 is now it's going to be coming out. They have been
Supposedly.
they've been showing a lot of gameplay footage. Like,
have.
before this year, we were only getting things like these really weird and like cryptic teaser trailers, essentially.
Yeah.
But now we're getting these like actual like really awesome set piece action gameplay, and I think it's gonna be really badass. And I mean that's pretty much all we can really talk about it at this point because
mean,
it's just steeped in stipulation at this point.
Yeah, I mean, it looks like more Kingdom Hearts, and
Yeah.
you know, that's a fun game. It's not bad. It's just
You're like, calm down.
I
It's
really
just
no
Kingdom
like for me,
Hearts.
honestly, like as much fun as Kingdom Hearts is, yeah, I think it's just a franchise that needs to die. I really do. I like it needs to die.
Javier is getting some opinions
Well,
now.
no, I mean in the way that like I also think
no, stick to your
Assassin's
guns.
Creed needs to die.
Well,
but,
that definitely
Yeah,
needs to
like, but like it's just Kingdom.
Mick is mega shaking his head.
But
No.
like, Kingdom Hearts is like, okay, I get it. It's been like 10 years, and you've been talking about Kingdom Hearts 3 while releasing
a bunch.
a bunch of spin-offs and a bunch of remakes and a bunch of titles that make no sense with the
Yeah.
prologue, final chapter, like it's just
Prequel, yeah.
enough. Like
Yeah.
I get it. It's Kingdom Hearts. I don't even know what the story's about anymore. All I know is that Mickey Mouse is in it, and he's got a sword, and you could play with Donald and Goofy. A Keyblade, and there were the Keyblade Wars, so it's starting to sound like Star Wars. And it's so just ridiculous, which, by the way, they should do a crossover with Star Wars, because now that it's Disney.
Ah,
I think
They better. I mean,
I think screw this. Going and talking about video. Like let me get this all squared away in my head first.
You got it.
I'm going to stop focusing on video games on this show now. I'm just going to start focusing on topics that I think are going to rile you up. Because I want to see you get mad on this show. Like, I'm seeing a semblance of it here. Like, when you want to see him just, like, blow up one time,
takes a bit
yeah.
to get me upset, but
we'll find it.
I just want to
We'll
see him
find
just
it.
flip this table over.
Yeah.
Enough. Punch my cat
It needs
right
to die!
but seriously, like, how many more spin-off titles are you gonna give me before you just give me the last game, or at least this sequel that we've been talking about for years? Like,
Well,
enough.
I think you might get it. I think you might get it. It's hopefully going to come
But
out.
do I even
2018.
want it now?
I don't know. Jeez, stop yelling at me. All right, but okay, so yes, speaking of franchises that need to die, we have all these Speaking of franchises that need to die, the Ortiz family name. No, I'm just kidding.
We will never die.
No, we have all these AAA title games that are like, they keep coming out, they keep getting pumped out. We have like Call of Duty, Assassin's Creed, a Halo franchise that are all just taking up all this space and all this publicity away from a very. It's starting to get more tapped, not saturated, but a more widespread, widely known widely known facet of the industry, which is the indie game industry. But it's just so kind of hindered by all these AAA titles and these franchises, Battlefronts and all these things, that it's not really getting too much of the light of day. And I want to touch upon, have you been playing any indie games? What do you think about the indie game industry as it is now? I mean, do you feel like it is something that's starting to kind of grow from the ground up, or is still being suppressed by all these mainstream titles?
Well, you're riled up.
Yeah.
You want to start?
You're so chill today, Zach.
Like, I mean, I don't think it's suppressed at all, just because as long as you have like Xbox Live Gold memberships and PS4 Plus, and you get games for free, a lot of times you get indie games. Like, I remember one of my favorite indie games that came out, it was a couple years ago. It was called Rogue Legacy, and it was free. And like, it's Metroidvania style, and it's RPG-ish, and it's just a ton of fun. And it's like sprite based, so it looks really nice. And games like that are just, they suck hours, out of you, and they're just really fun. And I don't think they're being shadowed at all. I mean, Because you can get them now for like $10 on the store
True,
if you never
true,
downloaded
true,
in the first place.
True.
And like another game that Zach showed me once called Towerfall Ascension. So much fun. And like it's 8-bit style, it's beautiful.
So
and then
good.
you know the little game called Shovel Knight, which is phenomenal.
Yeah, I mean that's one of those games that has
You know,
like kind of Cave Story, Shovel Knight. I remember back in the day Castle Crashers when that came out. That was a huge deal and it was so much fun. But you know there are still like it's a huge library of all these indie games. Of course, not all of them are great. Just like you know these AAA titles and these third-party titles too. But I think that it's just something that a lot of unless you have a Steam account, a lot of gamers aren't really tapping into. I feel like it's a very underplayed and underappreciated kind of facet of the video game industry when there's such a plethora of original content and like different ways of playing a game.
Yeah, I would definitely say indies are a lot more overshadowed on consoles. So I feel like, and I hate to kind of generalize the console player, the typical console player, but I feel like a lot of those people are like they play. And I know a lot of these people where they just play 2 or 3 games a year, and it's just like Call of Duty and
Overwatch.
and 1 or 2 other
Yeah,
things.
these people play
Well,
Overwatch.
I mean,
all
some
the
of
time.
these, like a lot of these people I know, they won't even play Overwatch. Like, oh, it looks like a cartoon. I need some Call of Duty
Well, that's
and Mountain
annoying.
Dew.
That's annoying.
But they would never touch an indie game ever.
I know some people that won't play fantasy games because they're like, and it's kind of sociopathic the way they say it, but they're like, I want to like, you know, kill things that like are real.
That are real.
Yeah, like you know, like killing orcs that have blue blood. Like, what does that even mean? I'm like, that's a little. Yeah, exactly. It's like
I want to kill human beings.
Yeah, I mean, like when I was a child, I used to torture small animals. I want to do that in a digital like reference now. No, but yeah, I completely agree. Like people are just like that bro mentality sometimes. Not everybody. You know?
Yeah, I feel like it's definitely like like Steam has made things so cheap and easy.
Yeah.
Like I know so many people they just have this enormous library of games where it's like there'll be a Steam sale and you'll get a game for 49 cents or just something just insane. And the other thing there's stuff like Humble Bundles and stuff like that are always like. I mean, they're
Bumble
just
Hundles, those are really fun too.
the what?
Bumble Hundles?
Bumble Hundles?
And Stumble Bumbles.
Ah, nice.
And bumblebees.
It's a good addition to this conversation. But
Say D's?
Bees.
Oh,
the bumblebees.
Oh.
the old bumblebees.
I was just laughing because you spoke.
But there's so many easy, cheap ways of getting indie games on a PC.
Stealing them.
Yeah,
Just going into someone's house, taking their hard drive.
Their PC.
Yeah.
Oh.
But
the cops are here.
quick, Mick, fix our light.
Oh.
Our
Thanks,
podcast.
God
Our
of
podcast
making-
listeners are just getting such a good show this week.
They are.
Not seeing all of
cat.
So
this.
visit youtube.com/multiplayer.
But anyway, so yeah, I mean, it's definitely something that like personally, I love indie games because it's like it's just more games. It's just you can't have too many games.
Sure.
And they're always different.
Yeah, and there are certain games like
They take chances. They have the ability because since they're a much smaller budget, they have the ability to take a lot more chances in terms of how they tell a story or how they teach gameplay, and that's what I really appreciate about indie games. It really tests limits. And so we do have to wrap up the show. I'm sorry, I know this is
Just one more thing.
yeah, okay, all right.
So
I'm not gonna cut you off.
Okay, so just
Blue
two
balls
things.
before the show's over.
One, I think console gamers don't get enough exposure to the indie games simply because the marketing isn't there for indie games.
Yes, absolutely.
They don't have the budget for that.
Agreed.
But because of like PS Plus and stuff, and I said that already, that they get they can free download them for free. But Xbox, like their E3, looking at games like Cuphead, The Artist Escape,
the other one,
the Strange Night, or what's it called, Last Night, like games like that. When they show them off at E3, they look fantastic, and I don't care what kind of gamer you are. If you see that, you're like, that looks beautiful, and I want to play that
it's
game.
true. Cuphead was just
Yeah,
an amazing
like the art style is
game.
amazing. So that's something, if you really do appreciate video games as an art form, indie games are beautiful because you get so much variety in terms of what stuff looks like. Games from Journey, which are fully 3D rendered, to Towerfall Ascension, which is 8-bit, and it's still 4:3 aspect ratio. So it's like they're all super different and they're all super fun. So.
Yeah, I mean.
So Sorry, man.
you're
we
good.
do have to end
Wrap
this.
it up,
Yeah,
bro. Wrap
No,
it up.
but I am gonna throw one more question to you guys
Sure.
before we send. So we've been talking about, we're telling our listeners and our viewers that there is this whole untapped market of indie games if you guys want to play some really wholly original things. So before we end the show, what are some recommendations that you guys have? I'm gonna start with Zach since I just cut you off a second ago.
So, I mean, on the indie scene, some of my favorite games in the last probably, 10 years, really, is, Shovel Knight is phenomenal. And it's on so many consoles now. You can get that for Switch. PS4. I mean, it's everywhere. Yacht Club just killed it with that game. If you're like a Mega Man fan or anything like that, that game is awesome. Towerfall Ascension is up there as one of my favorite games in the last 10 years.
These are all sprite-based games that you're talking about. Okay.
Phenomenal game. And I also I was a big fan of Hotline Miami. Like that game is so good.
I have not played that one yet. Too. I want to.
Awesome. And I also, I definitely want to give a shout out, to things like, PS Plus, Xbox Live Gold, things like Humble Bundle and Steam sales. You can get some of these games for
free.
Either for free
I know
just
right now
filthy cheap.
Yeah.
And it's like Towerfall and I think, did I get Shovel Knight for free?
If you did, that's amazing.
I do know that the
Maybe
PlayStation
not.
Store is having an 80% off sale right now on a whole crap ton of games. So you could buy some really good ones for about $4. So.
Yeah.
There's some good ones.
Sweet. So Javier, what are some of your suggestions?
So, like I said earlier, Rogue Legacy I think is just so much fun, and there's so much variety in that game, and it never gets old to me. If we're talking about new games coming out, the ones I just said, Artist Escape, Cuphead, The Last Night, those all look great. And another game, I don't know if this counts. I guess it does. It was on the PS3 though. It was called Double Dragon Neon. It's a remake of the old Double Dragon, but it's totally over the top and fun, and the dialogue in it is hilarious, and it's a really fun game, and you can have a blast because it's 2-player, just like the old Double Dragon, and it's so much fun. I know it's not current gen, and I don't think it's on the PSN store because I tried to actually bring it over to my PS4 from my PS3. Couldn't do it. But
they just put a whole 500 games from
Did
PS3
they?
and 4. Yeah, they just did.
So maybe you could find it. That game.
It's all in the PlayStation Plus store. They just vamped 500 games from the PS3 onward.
Well, if that game is there, I love that game.
Who
so
developed
much.
that? Do you remember?
No,
Yeah.
I
Follow-up
don't.
question.
I don't remember.
Spotlight.
Although I have the smartphone, I could look it up really quick.
Let's leave it a mystery.
Whatever.
For myself,
Keep talking. I'm gonna look it up.
For myself, I would definitely recommend. I just picked up an indie game called Goner, that's Gonner, on the Switch, and it's an amazing game if you're looking for jumping into something blind. It definitely takes a lot of it treats you as an intelligent gamer. It doesn't it lets you figure things out. It's simple enough that you can kind of jump in and kind of get your feet wet with what's going on, but it gives you no backstory. It gives you no kind of information as to what items that you're using are until you use them. So it forces you to kind of test things out and learn your own strategy and figure things out. So it's steeped in this mystery. It's a lot of fun. I found myself getting really sucked into it because I still don't even know what the story's about. You have to go through it for a little bit.
Nice.
But it's just gives you enough to keep you intrigued and engaged. So Goner for the Switch. You can also get that for I believe for on PC and on Xbox, not PlayStation yet. Some other ones that are great, Shovel Knight, and that's our time. Shovel Knight Castle Crashers, like I mentioned before, it's an older game, but they have an HD remake. It's a lot of fun. We Happy Few is an interesting one, kind of like a Bioshock dystopian.
That's not officially out yet,
It
right?
is, it came out.
Wait, I thought it was still
2016.
in just in a beta thing.
It did, but I think it extended. Now it's to it's probably, it might still be beta, but it's almost finished at this point.
Yeah, I think it's just in with a lot of those kind of games, it's in one of those just sort of open-ended betas where you can sort of jump in and play it. But,
Unravel is great. Ori's Blind Forest, that's for Xbox. But I'm still new. I'm just now wanting to get more into the indie game scene as well. So I hope to bring to the show a little bit more discussion about indie games.
Yeah,
I do
totally.
next episode or next week. I think we're gonna dive a little bit more. I'm gonna make it a point for our homework to play some more indie games if we have the time. So
You want to pay for it?
so everybody.
Donate to that Patreon.
Yeah. But that is the end of the show, guys. Thank you for
be
sticking
quiet.
around.
One more thing about Double Dragon Neon. All right, it's Way Forward Technologies. That was the dev, and fuck IGN, they gave it a 3 out of 10. That game deserves way more praise. That game's fucking awesome. That's it.
Done. Okay, cool. Well, that is our show. Thank you guys so much for sticking around. Whether if you were listening to this on our podcast or watched this on our YouTube, check out the other opposite one that you were seeing the show on. Please, again, visit our Patreon if you want to help this show grow and help us play more video games that we can talk about,
Yeah.
And you can also follow us on our social media. You can find me at Twitter at Masdorado and on Instagram at Guillermo_Dorado. You can find Zach Matzganis.
I am at Zack Matzganis, ZackMatzganis.
But everyone's going to have that jingle in their head. Javier?
I'm on Twitter at multiplayerhav, just multiplayer and then JAV.
Perfect. You can follow Multiplayer at Go Multiplayer on Instagram and on Twitter. You can also find Mick, our cameraman, which we're going to have more segments later on with him involved, along with Nathan. You can find them on Twitter at Mick2thewood and at Multiplayer Nath, the fan favorite.
You can also find my cat on the table.
Yeah. We also like to especially thank DJ CUTMAN for supplying the music. Seriously, guys, check him out at djcutman.com for any more like really awesome chiptune and 8-bit music. I believe we covered everything.
Yeah. I think so.
Perfect. So, guys, stick around next week. We'll have some more stuff to talk about. But until then, keep grinding, and we'll see you at the respawn.
We love you.
Later, guys.
On behalf of Multiplayer, Mario would like to send a special thank you to Jaden Lawrence, Arturo Mendera, Merchadan Kroll Pitaru, and Mario Dorado. Thank you so much for watching.